I've changed my portfolio, and in this update I'll explain you why. I went all in on altcoins 4 weeks ago, and I didn't change that approach, but I've adjusted the altcoins that I have in my portfolio because I see altcoins out there that are going to likely, at least in my thesis, provide a higher ROI, and that's why I've created this additional short update on my portfolio. Altcoins are going to do really well. They are likely going to do that. They have been suffering a lot in the past period because of the Bitcoin ETF, but I think that the rotation is going to be very close towards an upside for altcoins. And to be fair, I'm seeking for adrenaline and I'm quite high on my risk appetite. That's how I made a lot of money and that's how I lost a lot of money. And that's why I'm also aging fast. But hey, that's crypto. It's my third rodeo right now, so I kind of know the drill. Anyway, in the past weeks, the markets have been going sideways, and technically, the most prominent reason for that is the fact that the Ethereum ETF is not entirely approved yet. The 19B4 files have been approved, but the S1 files have not been approved yet. And because of that, it just takes some time before the markets are going to move. I think that once that kicks in, the interest starts to come into the markets and into the ETF, and that's when the Ethereum ecosystem is going to fire off. Now, the interest in the Bitcoin ETF has suddenly increased this week as we had an inflow of almost $900 million into it during the week on one single day, the highest amount of inflow in 2 months. That's all relatively outside of crypto, but then there are market intrinsic events and triggers which are taking place and are important to understand. In the past weeks, Binance has been providing a very interesting article on low floating, high FTV coins on the exchange, basically meaning that they are not interested into these type of coins at this point. And I think that triggered the market. So what are low floating coins? Well, low floating coins basically means, and low floating high FTV basically means that an altcoin or a coin is listed at, let's say, a fully diluted valuation of 1 billion. So if all the coins are unlocked, that is the valuation of the project. But then you've got the lockups that VCs, KOLs, early investors, private rounds, all those groups have, through which only a selective amount of percentage of that entire unlock is live at TGE at the moment that it's getting listed. So then the actual market cap right now is 10% of the fully diluted valuation. And in the coming few years, these unlocks will happen, and then the project will increase its valuation towards that number. So it's a little bit weird to say that the valuation of a project is the circulating valuation. But then on the other hand, it can be easily pushed up, or at least there can be a big market mover. Now, that is something on the positive side. On the negative side, you can also receive a lot of dumps if a VC gets an unlock through which the market cap is being raised by it. So Binance released that article, but then you are also quite sure that if Binance does that, then they take care of their listings, and that they're going to be listing different coins in the coming period. Now, if you look and you do a research on these coins, you can see Celestia did a 1000% run after listing. Sai did the exact same, and recently Notcoin has been doing it too. The fact that Binance is such a huge market mover and has a big impact in the markets, as their listings on other exchanges do not have any impact at all, and the recent report and recent returns and the fact that BNB is hitting a new all-time high shows that there's a lot of interest into that ecosystem again. And through that, I swapped my altcoin exposure. My core exposure during the coming months will be segmented into a few categories. Ether ecosystem, which is by far the most easiest low risk bet to make. Ethereum is a giant ecosystem that is actually flourishing in terms of fundamental expansion and is likely going to continue having that although social media doesn't say so. Secondly, I'm focused on market narratives that are upcoming, which are RWA and DPIN. And finally, I'm heavily interested into coins that are interesting as recent Binance listings. Well, why? If you're looking into the market mover, you are better off following it than betting against it. And the comparison is BlackRock entering the Bitcoin game by having the ETF, and by just doing that, price rallied from 30k to a new all-time high for the first time pre-halving in a new cycle. So then it's all about opportunity cost. So the altcoins that I had in my portfolio are likely going to do well, but they will be outperformed by newer assets and other assets through which I'll rotate back into the altcoins at the later point in the cycle. Right now, I want to be positioned into assets that are likely going to generate a higher return short term. Now, which altcoins am I in? Let's have an overview on the charts, and I'll explain all the steps that I've been taking. The fact that I've been removing some of the altcoins is due to the fact that they have been underperforming. So what I see here is a coin that is fundamentally really strong, but hasn't been performing at all. I've been getting into some TA here, but the thing is that Atom, for instance, at this point has been seeing a correction that has been up to 50% here. That is a lot. All right, that's just, we need to make sure that there's a lot of correction taking place after a run that has been yielding approximately 200%, but that, or not even 150%, but that is against USDT. And that is an older altcoin. Now, if we are going to add another coin here, which is Curve, which has also been underperforming, as we have been seeing a first swift run of approximately the same percentage of 130% during January towards March, and then we went all the way back, you can technically say that that performance is super weak. Now, if you do add the BTC chart, it is self-explanatory, right? It continues to fall and it continues to fall. And if you add the same chart for Matic, it continues to fall, although it gets into interesting areas here. But you can see that these type of coins, same can be said for Curve against Bitcoin, are just technically continuing to have a downwards fall, and might not be bad projects out there, but have been underperforming substantially. So I had these in my portfolio. I took the risk of having these in my portfolio, and I think they will still be doing well and generate me a return, but I just see less arguments of having them in my portfolio, as they are underperforming heavily in the last period already. Now, in that aspect, I want to be positioned into coins that do not have these back holders, are a solution for a problem that we have been getting into the previous cycle, into some sort of ecosystem thing, and are likely to have a higher return because the repricing didn't take place yet. In that aspect, if I look at these charts and I compare that with the information that I have been receiving or that I've been researching in the previous weeks, there is the opportunity cost of having these coins and having other coins in my portfolio. If I have these coins in my portfolio, I have a chance of doubling or tripling my money, for sure. But I also have the chance of not doing that. If I have other coins in my portfolio that are relatively new, are providing a fundamental solution, or are a little bit more of hype, that can generate me an even higher return, and the chances are going to be higher that it actually gets there. So that's why I made that decision to swap my coins. For instance, if we go back to the ones that I've been saying, Sai has been seeing a correction, but it has been seeing this listing correction, and after that it went up to close to 8x against Bitcoin. 8. Even due to the fact that Bitcoin went live with the ETF, after that period we basically went down, which means that this one is just going to rotate back up again. I think this is a very safe one actually. that is just getting crushed due to the fact that the Bitcoin ETF went live. So this one dropped approximately 70% since, and is yielding an opportunity. Another one that has been providing the exact same, peaked in the week of the Bitcoin ETF launch, went up 650% and corrected 75%. I think those are opportunities that are substantial. Doesn't have the BTC pair, as you can see, but it is one of the recent listings on Binance that has been providing a return. This one went up by 8x in just 2 weeks, or 7x. Through that aspect and seeing the price action that has been taking place, I rotated some of the altcoins that are relatively old, like Atom, like Curve, in my portfolio, and I swapped them for newer coins. One of those newer coins is some project that I started to tweet about, which is Renzo, which has seen the exact same downwards movements and starts to trend up at this point. This valuation is tricky. It might continue to fall from here and go towards 2 cents, whatever. But at this point, with the current flow around the Ethereum ETF and the Ethereum ecosystem, I suspect that this one is going to do really well, and it just got listed. Another one is, not that one, is Portal, which is gaming and is a relatively higher floating coin, still 1 billion in fully diluted valuation, has seen a drop of 70 to 80% and starts to grind up, and has the same sort of narrative of Binance listings going to do really well. And I'm quite sure that probably the exchange will make sure that the listing goes well. So this is another one that I've been adding into my portfolio, and I've been discussing some in my previous videos already. Wormhole is the exact same. I added that one to my portfolio as well. So I swapped a few of my coins into newer coins, through which I'm likely going to generate a higher return, or at least that is my thesis. As you know, I'd like to show the steps that I take with my portfolio. I also like to take this YouTube channel towards the next level by being educational with my videos on Sunday, by sharing my knowledge and sharing my experience over the past, almost 8 years, and providing you insights in the journey that I take right now in this crypto cycle within crypto in the coming years with my financial portfolio. I also need to make sure that I'm not partnered with any of the projects that I've discussed in this video. I see some of those comments, but no, I'm not sponsored. This is my personal interest, this is my personal portfolio and my personal strategy. I trade this way. I've been doing that. I'm comfortable with having this portfolio. It might not be the right approach for you. You might have a different risk appetite. That's completely fine. I'm just sharing what I'm doing here. And I hope it's going to do well. Now, what I ask you to do is to comment beneath if you have enjoyed this small update. What would you like to see from my side? What altcoins do you have in your portfolio? Let's just have a small chat together and help each other out. I'll be back on Sunday with a new, longer version of Finance Forward, where I'm going to be providing an update on altcoins again. We are working on a lot of cool stuff, so stay tuned. I'll talk to you then. Have a wonderful week. Ciao.